Shalom. Assalamu alaikum, my friends. Let's go for a walk. I have to go get more cat food. If they have any. And on our walk, I will discuss and tell you guys secrets that are going on in the world that they don't want anyone to know, and they're covering it up. All right, so first thing is first. Let's discuss the first thing that took place would be the war in Ukraine, right? That's the first thing. But you have to understand why that first took place. And it's an easy thing to understand, because if you look at the history of that place, it's very corrupt, right? Very corrupt. And if you look at the leader himself, he's an ex-actor and comedian. So he was real popular amongst the ignorant that follow that type of stuff, right? You know, even in America, we have ignorant people that follow, oh, the movie star, the actor, the singer, oh, they're so wonderful, right? So you have to understand that. That's how he got in. He was a person that the United States put him in as the leader. And then you'll understand more about Hunter Biden going there with Burisma and being on the board there. And then you kind of understand about the virus, the creation of it, where the money for it was being funneled. It's all going to be revealed if they reveal it. I very seriously doubt they're going to show anybody any classified documents, right? So you can automatically know that that's a fake movie, because even if there were classified documents, it's not like they're going to reveal that information or anything that's on those classified documents to anybody, period, at all anyway, right? You have to understand that. So you'll never know the truth about that. You can never know it, right? It'll be like a national security issue. We can't let anyone know about stuff like that. It may be detrimental to the United States of America. That's what they'll use that excuse, right? Even though everybody's talking about transparency and all governments need to be show the people that they're governing what they're doing, so on and so forth. And this is globally. So you see, all that's just babble. It's all talk. Nobody's going to tell anybody nothing. It's all hush hush. And they use the excuse as if it's for the nation's security. And that's a lie. It's for the security of corporations. That's what it's for. So anyway, you get down to that. And then you get into the understanding of where Taiwan sits, okay? And why the United States was so worried about China invading Taiwan. Now you have to understand that Russia and China don't go around just invading people's nations just because they can. You know, that's really a lie when they propaganda that you to try to make you think that that nation's bad, this nation's bad. It's the same way that Iran burns American flags and says, oh, the West is evil, the West is evil. You know, it's not the people, it's the whatever's governing over them that's doing this stuff. So you see that kind of propaganda that goes on, right? So then in Taiwan is where they're making these computer chips, and these computer chips are found in everybody's military weapons, cell phones, computers, your TVs at home, your microwaves at home, refrigerators, pretty much anything that is being evolved into this so-called smart technology, anything like that is what they are creating these chips for. And the production of these, or who is allowing the production and giving the goods and services for them. Taiwan's a little island. It doesn't have the gold and the silver or all that kind of stuff to sit there and make computer chips, you understand? So they have to import that from somewhere. Where are they importing it from? The United States of America. So when China finds out that Taiwan is creating computer chips that have viruses planted in them, that's what set alarm bells off on Russia and China. Because what took place in Iran with a virus called Sputniks was an overloading of the Iranian nuclear plant, and it caused a great big fire and explosion there and destroyed it. So now there is another virus that they're manufacturing over in Taiwan. And one of the reasons why they were so interested in Taiwan with Pelosi and all them is just the same plain simple fact that they had invested money on the stock markets of certain corporations. So they want to keep themselves rich, you understand? So they're watching their assets. It's not the assets of American people. It's the assets of these billionaires and millionaires that are in powers and positions. It's their assets they're protecting. So, like I said, we export steel and all that type of stuff over to Taiwan for that. Now then, Nancy goes over there because they're trying to, basically, you have to understand, the new, I gotta get to that, the new virus that's in these computer chips is called Nitro-Zeus, okay? And Nitro-Zeus is stagnant right now, but it's in every freaking computer chip right now. Everybody has one in it. And this virus sits there stagnant. It's been spread out to everybody's nations. All the nations of the earth have gone and purchased these things for their technologies, not realizing that within it is a virus. So Russia and China have figured this out because there was a whistleblower from Taiwan over to China. I mean, they're all Asian, they're gonna have different things. You're just not gonna get to see it media-wise here in America because every nation bans something from another nation. For instance, you see my YouTube, I showed you that one of my videos, because of a song, was banned in Russia. That's insane, right? But that's what happens, and that happens globally all over. So now you're going to get to this Nitro-Zeus that's in everybody's thing. China's figured it out. Russia's figured it out. Now, the reason that America wants Ukraine as a part of a democratic NATO ally, in a manner, is not because they care about people's rights or anything like that. It's only because these people are so foul. All right, you have to understand, these people are so foul that they don't care about the lives of people in war that are being killed every day over this nonsense that they have done. So what they're doing is they went there because Crimea sits right there on that seaport. Now that's a huge seaport that's there where the exports and imports of goods and services go so that they can go out to the European markets from the east out towards the west, okay? Now, from there, it's cold. So from there, you have the seaport, and China and Russia, because it's Russian land, China doesn't get involved. Otherwise, China would have been the one over there bombing Ukraine, okay? But they let that go to Russia because it's Russian people. They don't want to have a great big war over some kind of nonsense of race or something like that. So China lets them go over there to do it. And the reason they're doing it is because they're trying to put a stop to the production and the exporting of these computer chips that are going to be forced out globally into everybody's world. Okay? So in the exporting of all this, across the street, make sure I'm safe across. All right. Now, from these computer chips, they want to control the export and import, right? Or if they come into the port, they'll be able to regulate what is inside them. They can go through and check them all, make sure they're all clean, which is a clean, right? To make sure they're not being produced for a destructive manner on behalf of a bunch of foul people, so that they can push a button and next thing you know, things are blowing up. Now, how you know things are blowing up is because you have, in a great example, is the farms and plants that American had that all of a sudden it caught fire and nobody knows why. Oh, it just caught fire, nobody knows. And these were all caused by the nitrozus virus that is inside everybody's computer chip right now. So then you have that going on, right? And who are they blaming for it? They blame China. They blame Russia, trying to say it's them, when everyone knows that the nitrozus virus is an actual American man-made virus that is put in the computer chips in Taiwan. So you can clearly see how that's going on. Now, keep that in mind. We're about to go into the store, so I got to get some cat food, so we're not going to discuss it.
Hello.
Hello, how you doing, ma'am?
Good. I like the little thing you got going on.
It was made from a golf club. And I put tape around it. You see?
That you did tape it up, y'all. Right?
It holds it, you know.
It does. It's not even coming loose.
Right. It's good.
Wow.
Okay, so we're gonna go down here and find some cat food. I was gonna get some catnip grass for my cats to chew on. Here is some right here. Get some catnip. And let's get some kitty cat food. We have some meow mix. What do we got here? Some tender crunchy combos. Oh, meow mix is too high. I just need a little bag. Here's some gravy swirls. This is what I wanted. The gravy swirlers. Hopefully they'll eat that and they won't just throw it away and act crazy. Till I can get to the big store and get more food. Excuse me.
Hello? Butler County Morgue, how may I help you?
For real.
Hello.
What's the name of the body you would like
Don't
to
say hey.
place?
937, please. I love quarters. They do me justice.
Do they?
Yes, they do.
4, 5, 6. You know, some of these have those bats on them.
Really?
Yes.
Oh yeah, like that one. I see it.
Uh-huh.
That's nice.
6,
Yep.
7. I want to get rid of too many of my bat things, you know.
You know,
In
not
case
too
they- in
many of
case-
them,
In case
right?
they're 7, 8, 9.
36 or 37.
I got quarters, so.
That's all right. $9.50.
In case they're worth some money later
They
on,
probably
you know.
will be, you know.
It's crazy that they actually even made that stuff. I mean, that's not a memorable thing that we want to, you know. Let's put bats on them. Remember the coronavirus.
Something like that.
Nonsense.
Well, you have a good day.
Is that mine?
That is yours. I put it right in front of you.
Thank you, man. You have a good day, too.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Make sure I got my catnip in here. I promised Tigger I would pick that up. All right, we got that. So now let's discuss more about the nitro Zeus virus that's in everybody's chips. So now you understand why that war is over there, why that's actually happening. Now the propaganda, they're not going to let you know. So if Russia comes out and says, yes, we have found it in a chip, then that's not going to be sent over into the American media, because then that would let the American people know, hey, we got a group of freaking intelligence officers creating things like this and making countries and other nations pissed off at us that would bring about a freaking World War III. If I mean, you know, that's an act of war to do something like that. What America's doing, that is an act of war. That'd be like, what if another nation did that to us and created a virus and chips and put it in our place where we're at, where they could push a button and cause, you know, for example, they could cause the gas pumps, the gas pumps to go down. You can't be on the camera. So hurry up and run. That guy was wanting to go, but you know, pedestrians have the right of way, but not anymore. You know, they're in a hurry. They'll run you over in America. So now you have the viruses, right, being released. And then you have your food prices. Now, how are they funding all of these things to make? Because you know they can't just come out and just tax the people and say, oh, we got to tax you because we're making things, right? So what do? They up the price of your cigarettes. They up the price of your beer. They target these type of things because everybody's doing it, right? It's a billion-dollar industry. So they up the price of all that. And then they up the price of your food. And when it goes to the upping the price of the food, you have to understand that when they're doing all this, they're blaming the war, right? They're just blaming the war. Oh, that's why inflation. Let's blame the war. That's why it's happening. But that's not why. I told you why. So then we get into the food, right? So then you got Google. You got these billionaires, first of all, and all these billionaires are buying up your communications, AT&T, Southwestern Bell, all these communication networks, Verizon. They're buying them all up to convert them into one entity. So that way, it's kind of like how Jeff Bezos has basically controls the shipping of delivery with Amazon of goods and services that come out, correct? You understand? So while they're doing all this, upping the price of all your stuff, this price that they're using when they're upping it, they are taking that from you. Basically, they're stealing your money, and then they're sending this to engineers and other places to develop their agenda and the means for them to implement their agenda. So they don't want communication about all this to get out. So what it will be is you've got this mafia group that all kind of came out of PayPal. And you can look up PayPal, you find out all these groups which later started to develop other companies, but they outsourced. Basically, all these people are outsourced from PayPal, which was Elon Musk's little baby, right? So now you can clearly see that Elon Musk is buying up the communications on platforms, creating policies, right? And then if you look at all his tweets, he's now talking with the UE or the UA or EU, that's what it is, European market. He's talking with them. He's meeting with McCarthy, telling McCarthy, oh, I'm going to give you guys equal, the left and the right, equal on my platform. Nobody this. And everybody thinks about that and they say, oh, well, that's nice of him, isn't it? Oh, equality for all. Not realizing that, wait a minute, you're a fucking app. You don't govern the people. You don't govern our Congress. You don't make fucking laws for us. But as you clearly see, all of your leaders are starting to get pulled into this crap, believing it, thinking, oh, he's such a great, wonderful guy. He's saving the freedom of speech. Policy hasn't changed on Twitter one iota, right? Not one iota. So they pull out things like, oh, the FBI, they're banning, they caused Twitter to ban some things and this and that. No, that's all joke. That's a hoax. You think the FBI is going to let a fucking civilian come out and try to point the finger at them as if they are corrupt? Think about that shit. Fuck no. That's all a big fucking hoax. So they make a big dramatic thing using the media, a big dramatic release, and they give it a name. The Twitter Files. Dun dun dun. You know, so they do all this to get everybody's attention on this nonsense shit. When you know and I know, and everybody should know, you can't sit around and blame them. So if there is blame, it's because they allowed it. It's set up. Because you know and I know that in the national security, it would be a national security risk for any civilian from any huge corporation that's a global corporation to come out and say that a group of law enforcing people have done something to violate you. Whoa, dun dun dun. Come on, man, that's ignorance. Pure fucking simple ignorance. It's set up in that manner for people to think so that they can create more discord among the people, where they've already been wanting to call for defunding the police. And as you see, it's your Congresses, they're all part of it. All of them. It doesn't matter which side, because each side it's like a hand. So you have some fingers. So this finger would be groups that talk about socialism. Another group talking about equity. Another group talking about corruption. Another group, but they're all pointing the finger at each other, right? So if everybody's pointing the finger at everybody, and I'm looking at the stage, I would say that all of you need to get off the stage and go, because you have just admitted and pointed the finger and have blamed each other for corruption. Basically, you're telling on each other, and that's one of the things they hated Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump's part of all the show too, but the reason that they hated him as part of the movie for you is because they started to say, get you to think that, oh, look, he's exposing everything. Oh, the fake news. Oh, this and that. They've been doing this for years. He's not exposing anything. They've always had this shit going on. But they want you to think that something is happening, okay? They want you to think that. So basically, you can't know who's good and who's bad. We don't know. All of them need to go. That's what I tried to tell you. They all need to go. So here, you have now the control of communication, the control of platforms. So that way, if you decide you want to expose them, then they can snuff you out, and they can try to say that you have violated their terms of service. Now, remember back in the day, we had no taxation without representation. Well, here you have no violation without representation. Who do you have as a representative on your side when it comes to a corporation who's saying that you have violated a policy? Do you have any representation to go and say, no, I didn't? No, it's either their way or the highway. That's it. Either you, like what he said to AOC with his big head. Thanks for your input. Now pay $8. You know, so you have all that going on. And then once they have taken over and all this, and they've got the communication, the food, the clothing, all that corner marketed, because you have to go to these apps now, because the warehouses, like I told you before, warehouses aren't producing as much. Well, they are producing, but they're not selling it to you and me. Instead, these apps that are on Google, they're the ones that are buying up all of the food, all of the cat food, dog food, all these apps for you to get on it, like Chewy.com, to buy it. So that way you have to be part of their policy. You're paying more. Remember, they have to fund this some way. So, and they can't just come out and just say, we're funding this, we're funding, no. So they've created all these secret organizations, part of the computer simulated world, to create funding and revenue for them to do what they're doing, right? Secretly stealing your money. So then, what you'll have next is, when they keep pushing and pushing, and nothing is getting done, and if America doesn't give in, or stop doing what they're doing, the next step that Russia and China is going to take is nuclear. I mean, this is no fucking lie here, everybody, because you're destroying people's lives already. Basically, you're killing people already when you're forcing people into doing something they don't want to do. You might as well say you're trying to enslave people. And that right there, they're basically walking dead anyway. And this is what the world's starting to understand, that we have no representation for anything that they're forcing you into. So this is going to lead to a civil war in America. Then later it's going to lead to a global war, right? Which will be World War III. And these guys, they act as if they don't care about it. And you got to ask yourselves, why? Well, is it because that they have already sold these computer chips and they're already inside? Pretty much China's military has them in theirs. You got all the, Russia's got them inside theirs, right? You understand? So that's why they're so bold, and they think they're going to get by with doing what they're doing, is because they'll say, oh, well, we'll just push a button and Nitro Zeus will be activated, and maybe your bomb will blow up wherever you're at in your own land, or maybe we'll just terminate the whole factory altogether, right? Like they're doing here in America already. That's why it's beta testing. In actuality, America is being beta tested, so that way they can make sure and see, oh, it's working just the way we want it. Ha 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 ha. You know, and that's part of their beta testing. So now you can clearly see what's really happening, everyone. It has nothing to do with the right, the left, any of that stuff. It has to do with a group of people who want to run the fucking world and control the world and force everybody to receive a mark. And this is where you're going to get back into that app store, like I said. They're going to destroy everybody's currency. That's what they want to do. That's why BRICS has been BRICS. That's why they developed this. And Russia's part of BRICS, right? You understand? So in that development, I forgot my bag's out here. So in the development of all that, you can clearly see that they know something that they're wanting to pull out of the American dollar for some reason. You know, the American dollar was very strong and nobody cared. When you bought oil, you used the American dollar. Why all of a sudden has it changed? You understand? So why? Is because they have realized that these apps are trying to coup the currencies over the world. You got Bitcoin. And Elon Musk, he's trying to push for this, right? He's wanting to push for it. All these other apps, corporations, Amazon, all these other people, they're wanting to push for it. So in the pushing forth of this is going to be part of where in Revelations, where they're talking about the mark of the beast, where you can't buy, sell, or trade unless you have the mark. And the mark instead it'll be put in your right hand or on your forehead. But like I said, you already have the phone, so it's already there, right? Forehead-wise could be anything from getting chips from Neuralink put in your brain, or some kind of scan, anything like that. Or it could just basically be that what they thought they saw was something scanning their forehead, But really what it was an eye thing to verify, eye scan to verify who you are. And they use this for banking. Because everybody's retina is just like a fingerprint. It's all, your eye is just like a fingerprint as well. Nobody has the same eyeballs, right? So they use this in order to manipulate the currencies that everyone globally is already using. Already we're using these globally. But why do they want to get rid of them? That's what I'm saying. They're trying to herd all revenue, all profit from global world. They're trying to herd it into one global currency, whatever they're going to use. That's why the Fed has really jacked the price up on interest rates of borrowing money. Because the Fed's also behind it, you have to understand. It's easier for the Fed to have one currency to do accounting work with rather than have 180 different currencies globally on the marketplace to use, right? If you've ever been an accountant, you'll understand that. It's a lot easier to keep track of one kind of currency because then you got to change value, this and that. But as long as you have one currency, that value will always stay the same, no matter where you are. And that's why they push for the word, they use equity. Oh, everybody, equal equity, equality, and equal equity. We use one kind of currency, everything the same price. Nobody has to suffer anymore. Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. But you're not realizing they're taking away your freedom. Your freedom to choose what you want to buy. Freedom to choose what you want to purchase. The freedom to go to whatever store you want to go to. Maybe this store had it cheaper. But once it remains global, like there's a global domination of it, and it's all at one price, now you can clearly see what's going on. Right? And this is what they're actually doing. And like I say, they're going to keep pushing and pushing. And if America and fucking people don't rise up and put a stop to our fucking people that are in office, who have got themselves rich off of this shit and off the stock market, what's going to happen, man, is a fucking global fucking war. And Russia and China is not going to be fucking around with America. I mean, America thinks that they're so tough and badass, but in reality, no one has ever gone to war really with Russia and China in a long, long fucking time. I'm just telling you that. So I don't care what any general or they don't know what these guys are capable of, or even what kind of technologies that they actually have that we are not even aware of yet. So you got to ask yourself, do we want to go to war? No, motherfuckers, no. But they don't care. They'll sacrifice you. They all have bunkers they built. You understand? They built underground bunkers. They did it in the 90s, 2000s, because this was a plan that the globalists have been working on for years, man. So they think that they have built all these safe houses where they can go hide when China and Russia decide, because of what Americans did to the computer chips and fucking everybody's nation all up. They're going to get pissed at us. To where we become Belle of Babylon. And in one fucking hour, you see all the foul things. It even says that all the foulness will come to Belle of Babylon. So you see with all the refugees that we're bringing in, the border being opened up, all the criminals and all the other nonsense coming in over here with nobody to regulate, to check them out, to see if they're good or bad. You can clearly see everything that's happening in the world. Right? You want, look at that. You getting this? You getting this? You getting that, Tigger? Ah, kitty cats. They love this stuff, boy. Let me get a little bit for them on the floor here. Show you guys, they love it. They'll go crazy. You're gonna go crazy and fight. Here you go. Look at all that. Yeah. Here, marbles. Right here. Here. Help you get that hairballs out of you. This stuff right here, people think that this makes them all excited or whatever. This is actually poison, to be honest. It's poison, and what it causes them to get nauseated, and they vomit. That's how they get rid of the hairballs. They get nauseated off of it. So what this is really is this is poison. But they don't tell you that. They don't tell you that's why it's there. They don't sell it as a poison. They sell it like, oh, it's catnip. Look it up. Look it up and see if I'm lying to you. I'm not lying to you. Like I say many times, I have no reason to lie to anybody. So with this, now you can see how they are trying to manipulate our currency, trying to manipulate everything. Even poisoning the food and the water. Putting chemicals and all sorts of kinds of weird shit in your stuff to lower testosterone. They already created, hang on. Look at that big tiger. So they've already created, like I said, all the scenarios they need. It's all ready. What they've got to do now is get all the partners together. And once they've got all the partners they need in the global world, because you have to understand the Antichrist stuff, where it talks about a 10-nation coalition, where this will be part of the Antichrist movement. And then you clearly see how they want to go into Africa. And now in the book of Revelations, it describes that those who follow the Antichrist in this train will be the Ethiopian, Nubian, and the Libyan. So that'll be part of that little organization, because they never really have anything anyway in that nation. So if somebody comes in and says, oh, we want to invest in energy there, so we're going to create whether the solar panels, and everybody in Africa will have a solar panel, free electricity, they say. Oh, wonderful, that'll be great. And that's why they'll follow it. You give any baby candy, he'll follow you to the car, right? Not realizing the kind of things, like I said, that the dust will get all over it. You got to clean them constantly. I've had them before. Got to clean them. Then you get the birds, you get the squirrels, you get all the other animals that may cause problems within them. These type of things. The weather itself can destroy and damage them. It is not a good thing to use. This technology is stupid. Like I said before, you can eat a lot of food and you get sick. You get a lot of technology, it's going to make us sick. And this is going to push, like I say, eventually what it's going to lead to is groups of people going to get together, and they've had enough. And this is going to be a mass global war. Meanwhile, they go and hide off in their bunkers, while normal citizens who didn't want anything to do with this technology, and they're forcing us into these simulated apps to buy our food, to buy our clothes, upping the prices of everything, hoarding it to themselves to where there's nothing for us to go to the grocery store or the clothing store or anywhere else to purchase. You know where all the clothes, look at all the clothes where they all go to. They go to Africa. You ever seen Africa's shores? It's all loaded with nothing but clothes. It's like a big dump site full of clothes. Stop fighting. You better stop fighting. I don't want them claws scratching nobody. You have to take somebody to the fucking vet. You better cut that shit out. Pan. All right, so I guess I'll end this video because I think that's pretty good. And we go on a little walk. Had a little fun at the store. They liked my stick. The girls liked my stick here, so that was funny. Like I said, I made it myself. But this is what's really going on, everyone. Mark my words, you'll see it. I have no reason to lie to anybody. The people who are lying to you are those that are in positions of power and authority who are trying to manipulate you, making you think that they're on your side, when in reality, no, they're not. Everything they have created, for instance, the IRS agent type thing, where you get all of them saying, oh, we put a stop to Biden's IRS coming after you. We've done this, we've done that. The government has no power to do such a thing anyway without we the people voting on such a thing. So they have already, hey, no fighting. So they have already created a false lie there and a false scenario, making themselves appear as if they're some kind of savior to something that legally was not even going to be able to do to begin with. Meanwhile, they're putting all that smoke screen in front of you. Meanwhile, everything that I have just said is what really they're planning and what really they're doing. Okay? So just be aware of that, because it's coming very, very soon, man. Very soon. I don't want it to happen. That's why I'm trying to get everybody awake, so we can put a stop to the Antichrist and Dajjal. Put a stop to him, and then usher in a new, better way of peace and the truth about religion. That's a number one thing too. The truth is about religions and the teachings of the Bible, the Vedas, the Injil, the Quran. All that stuff needs to be coming out. So that way we are united as a earthly people, as a humanity. We're united under something of a truth. So that way nobody can come along anymore and try to manipulate us and drag us away into following something else that's not truth. That's not reality. We don't want to follow witchcraft and fantasy lands. We don't want to get ourselves stuck in the simulated glass world where we live in a computer animated thing of metaverse or something else. You see, this is what they're bringing you all into. That's why they go on Joe Rogan and all these other podcasts talking about it. He's a drug addict fuck. That's all he is. He's a drug addict fuck. He can't fight. They make him appear on videos as if he can fight. All this other nonsense. He can't at all. Any video where they show him, like on that one video where he grabs that guy on that show, what was it called? Where they throw bugs or make you eat bugs and all that. The Fear Factor. So on that Fear Factor, you see the kind of guys he's trying to beat up. And look, they show him and they promote him like, oh, Joe Rogan, grab that guy. Oh, look, he's so strong and tough. Oh, look at him. Not knowing that guy he beats on his woman, he's a wuss anyway. Joe Rogan, you didn't do anything major to anybody. You held a wuss down. Why don't you come and hold me down? You see what I'm saying? They glamorize all this. They promote people into doing things that they really can't do. They're using strings to do flips because they can't really do it in real life. Stop fighting. Stop it. That stuff gets them crazy, I'm telling you. It gets them freaking guys crazy. And then they want to go around fighting afterwards. Smacking each other. That's what drugs do. That's what Joe Rogan's on. He's on them drugs. Smoking that DMT and all that pot and all that other nonsense. He's a foul motherfucker, he is. And so you see that he pulls these guys on podcasts so that they can promote their ideology, even though their ideology is false. So if you've already got the movie star, actor, or the famous guy, whoever people are already following, and they think he's cool, so anything that he says, they're going to say, oh, he's so cool, he must be right. Oh, we'll follow him. That's what you're seeing in the world today, everyone. That's what you're seeing. But for me, I sent him a message one time. I said, hey, why don't you have me on your podcast? Interview me. Interview me. I'm Imam Mahdi. I'm a huge figure in the world, believe it or not. Why don't you interview me? I've sent it out to all sorts of kinds of news medias and everybody. I'm like, hey, interview me. Nobody wants to, because I'm not part of their agenda. Like I said, I'm not part of their program. So they want to keep me as far away from any source of information whatsoever. Because I'm worse than Alex Jones when it comes to exposing things and showing people what's really happening. I'm 10 times worse than Alex Jones. Trust me. I used to send the messages back in the day to Alex Jones about things. You call into a radio and all this stuff, and you just talk and expose things. I've done that, right? So I used to send him tweets directly to that Infowars.com. Instead of ordering online, and you go online to order stuff, instead of ordering, I just would write messages in there and then send it to them, and they would receive it, and get it on their email. They'd be like, this is not an order. What's he saying? Oh, this. Hey, Alex, look, this came in. And then next thing you know, you're watching Alex. He's talking about whatever I have said. So, but right now, nobody has said this stuff yet. This is probably the first time you guys are hearing the connection of the storyline of what's really going on from me. But they won't give me credit, and I'll end up disappearing. And then all the people who want money are paid for information. They want fame and fortune. They'll use what I have said, and then they'll go and put it on their podcast and put it on their news and all this stuff. And meanwhile, poor old me, I'm left out in the cold again. I'm used to it, so don't worry, I'm used to it. And my whole life I've been like that, left out. But they'll use it and profit off of it and make a name for themselves and all that type of shit. Meanwhile, I'll creep back into the shadows and disappear again. Shalom, my friends. Assalamu alaikum.